Trapping is an American pastime, one of America's oldest traditions that helped drive Western expansion, an immutable characteristic of outdoorsmen across the nation, and one of the most effective methods of wildlife conservation on the planet. This video contains graphic images and may not be suitable for some viewers. Viewer discretion is advised.
Howdy folks, welcome back to Dominion Predator Controls Down the Line. On today's episode, we're going to see a lot of coyote catches, a couple of bobcats, and some set remake play-by-plays. Let's get to it. Ooh, look at that cat. Look at that cat. It's a good looking cat. It's a mean cat. Look at that spots on that cat. I don't know. Well, folks, as you can see, we got a really good looking Oklahoma cat right here. Early January 6th. This is check day 50. I started trapping coyotes on this ranch in almost mid-November, and it's kind of been a dry spell on predators for the last few days, 5-6 days. I had a cat 5 days ago. I had a dog 7 days ago, and I haven't done much since then. Just before that, I had 2 dogs and a cat the day before all that. It's been pretty good for the most part, but the last 6-7 days have been a real dry spell. I've had a lot of nest predators, a couple of non-targets, and that's about it. So we've been running around 40 traps most of the time, and I started changing some sets up and doing some different things. This set's been in the ground about 15-17 days, and it was a flat set designed for cats. I was using Wayne Derrick's Super Cat and Cletus Richards' Night Cat as a rubbler with a little bit of cat urine and a turd, and it's been sitting here without being touched at all for nearly 17 days, and then I pull up this really beautiful cat. It's a small cat, probably 20 pounds, but it's a real pretty cat. It's got real wide spots on the back, kind of like a leopard, and really defined spots all the way around it from head to toe. So this is going to be a good specimen to put online and sell on either taxidermy.net or one of the other forums where people buy cats for taxidermy purposes. This is a good cat. So if you're having a dry spell, don't worry. That's part of the game. It happens. Everybody has to go through it at some point. And he left me a few presents, and I'm going to pick up and take with me. And I'm going to get this cat dispatched and get it out of here, get the set remade. I got another set over here about 10 foot away that hasn't been touched. And it's also a deadly set, just waiting on another animal to come through. And this has been a good spot. I've caught a lot of, this will be cat number 12, the 7th cat I've harvested. And I've caught, I think, 5 cats on this pasture. We got a lot of cats over here. The coyotes aren't as thick as they are in some of the western parts of the state or some of the other parts of the country, but the cats are thick. So that's good. Praise the Lord. So we're going to get this cat taken care of. I'm going to get back and rehab the Red Ranger, and we're going to take this kitty home. We got about 32 sets left to check. And we're going to get on down the line and see what else we got. All right, folks, here's the remake on that cat set. Just a flat set, basically, with a big backing, big enough for a cat to rub on. And you can see in there, I got the turd. Right next to the turd, right back in behind it, there's a hole that I poked with the end of my driver here. And I put some of the glandler, I kind of rub it on the backing, I rub it on the turd, and I poke it in the hole. And then I take the night cat that I was using, that Cletus Richards sells on his website, Apple Road Predator Bait, and I kind of put it in the wood a little bit. So kind of smash it down in some of that dead wood in there, so it stays in there, and kind of something that's not going to just fall out easily if it comes by rain or something like that. And that makes the animals get in there and really kind of rub around on it. That's what the cats like to do. They'll get in there, rub around, and that's why you end up catching them. So the trap's right in here, about 9 inches offset just a little bit to the right. This cat was caught by the front left paw, but usually I catch both my animals by the front right paw. So that set right there is deadly. It's going to catch animals. They come by and put their nose in it, they're done. And you can see that beautiful cat there. See how spotted that cat really is. That's a really good looking cat. So we're going to get on down the line and see what else we got going on. Well, finally got us another coyote. It's been hard trudging. But we got this jip here, it looks like, in a cat set. Of course, it worked for coyotes too, and it has. This is the second time it's connected on coyotes. I haven't caught a cat in it yet, but this coyote makes coyote number 34 for the season, and this is check day 50. So my numbers aren't nearly as high as I thought they were going to be, but my cat numbers are pretty astronomical compared to my coyotes. I've caught 12 cats and 34 dogs, so I've caught more than a third in cats compared to my dogs, and that's not normal. But I'm not used to trapping out east either, so this is kind of new for me, fur trapping out east. I've fur trapped out west side Oklahoma before. It was a lot more dogs and a lot less cats. So I think my last season was 52 dogs, and that was in 2019, 2020. And I did a little nuisance work between now and then, but I wasn't able to fur trap till now. So I'm glad we got this dog. This is the first dog I've had in 6 days. And I've had some sets messed with and a couple of tracks right around the pans and the trap beds, but I hadn't had anything flipped off really that wasn't, had a possum or a coon in it or some other non-target. And we had a nice cat this morning already, and I still got 6 traps left to check. So I got a few good chances. I've caught a lot of animals on these other traps that are on the other side of this pond dam that I can't see. So we'll get over there in a minute and see what's going on. But first, we're going to dispatch this dog and get this cat set remade. I got a coyote set right over there, another flat set with a rock. It's got coyote glandler in it and coyote urine, and it hasn't been touched once. And when it snowed, it didn't have any paw prints around it, but this one did. The coyotes are really all over these cat glands, so I'm transitioning to cats anyway, so it's a real good time to start laying out a bunch of sets that got cat glands in it because the coyotes are hitting them. I don't normally catch animals by the back foot. I try not to, but this one is. So it is what it is. I still caught it, and it's not going nowhere. So we'll get this dog taken care of, dispatch this animal, get this set remade, and we'll get on over there and see if we got any more. And if not, we'll move on to the next day or the next time we're on the trap line. But until then, we'll move on down the line. Alright folks, here's the play-by-play remake on the set. Bang that chain in, make sure I waller out a little spot to put my levers. Set that in there, make sure it's not going to go anywhere. I went ahead and night latched it when I did it. You always hear it click. I love those traps because they night latch. Regular old pan cover there, I folded up so it wasn't too big sticking out. Put some peat moss in there, and it's a little damp, but I don't worry about that because I'm going to put antifreeze all over it. It's going to activate the antifreeze anyway. Then I'm going to come in over the top, and I'm going to put some of the dirt I truck in with me and make sure that it's dry. And then I'm going to cover it up with local stuff blended in, and I'm going to show you here how I bait it. What I like to do, I put a hole in right where I want my scent. This set was a cat set with Super Cat by Wayne Derrick and Pecos Valley by Wayne Derrick. So I think I'm going to change it up a little bit, and I'm actually going to put Cleats Apple Road Bobcat Glandler instead. And I'm going to use a cat turd. I got some cat turds. Pretty good. There we go. Just a little bit. What I do, find something local to get the cat gland out with. And I'm going to get this cat gland out, and I'm going to kind of rub it a little bit on the backing. I'm going to put some on the turd, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the rest of it down in that hole. And then the Pecos I'm going to put in on the backing predominantly. Kind of rub it in some of the pores in this skull. And then I'm going to take that and put that down in the hole too. And then once you got that in there, add a little bit of urine to it. Make sure you soak the turd good. And that set's remade. Doesn't take long. Takes longer to scout for where you're going to put sets than it does to remake them and put them in the ground. And you should spend in the early season as much time as you can scouting. Find your cat toilets, find your coyote highways. You know, when you got tracks coming and going and turds, you're in a prime spot, and that's where they're going to be. So you make sets like this when you're in those prime spots, and they're going to pick up animals no matter what. So that's my finished cat set, which seems to be a great coyote killer set right now. Well, that was a good dog. Well, folks, we got a talker. I get talkers all the time, but I don't normally get howlers that howl consistently. I've probably gotten 10 or 12 howls on video already. Whether it be that camera or my phone. And it's a full moon last night, so the moon is setting as the sun is rising. And I guess this episode is starring large male coyote howler. What should we call you? Howie? Huh? Anyway, this is a really cool situation. You don't get too many full moons during the trapping season, and a lot of people tell you that the coyotes don't move too good in full moons, and you know, you hear that hunting coyotes, calling in coyotes at night is really hard to do on a full moon, but it's definitely possible. And the coyotes are obviously moving, because this is my first trap check of the day. I've got 50 traps in the ground today. I think this is check day 52, 53. And this is coyote number 35. So, decent dog. Would have been a beautiful dog had I caught it earlier in December without those shoulders rubbed out. Would have been a great dog to skin. And we got, 40. I looked at two other traps before I came over here when I saw this dog bouncing, just to check those so I didn't have to backtrack. And so we've got 46 other traps to check. And it was a great night. Very light wind. So we should have some pretty good movement. We're going to get this dog taken care of and get this set remade and move on down the line. All right, folks, for today's product placement, we're going to talk a little bit about the bag that I use when I'm out trapping and the gear that I have inside of it. Now, here you can see I've got this Wiser Western Lure coyote bag, and I've got a couple of the beaver bags, one I use for bobcats and one I use for beavers. But this is the bag I carry around predominantly, even whether I'm trapping bobcats or coyotes. I usually use the same bag. And it's a real good bag. It's got a lot of pockets on it, and you can hold a lot of different lure bottles on it, as you can see. And they've got a couple of large pockets here that are designed for urine. And I typically put urine in one of these smaller ones or carry inside and just fill these up with multiple lure bottles. So I've got enough lure with me and I don't have to go back to the buggy if I don't need to. But there's a whole lot of pockets in it. It looks like you've got about 8 pockets on the side and the one big one that you can put bait jars in and so forth. And I keep gloves in here, a lot of different things. But inside the bag's what matters. And what you've got inside the bag is important, so you don't have to turn around and go back to the truck or go back to the shop or go back to the buggy to make sure you get everything done. So something I always carry with me is extra trap tags, and I've got some scattered along here in the bottom of this bucket. And then I carry a couple pairs of pliers to make sure that you've got good trapping pliers and a pair that you can torque on your traps with a little bit if you need to. And then I always carry a J-hook tool. It also works as a wire cutter, and the J-hook tools are real good. You know, it's important to have something like this, especially if you've got any kind of J-hooks at all, whether you're water trapping. I've got a tool like this in every one of the bags that I use when I'm trapping. And I use a spatula here whenever I'm cleaning off sets that have gotten wet or frozen on top. And instead of pulling the whole set out and making sure that, you know, everything underneath it is taken care of, what I do is, since I put antifreeze on the set, is I take this thing and I skim the top frozen dirt off of it, or the wet dirt off the top of it, skim the whole thing clean out the inside of the jaws, and then rebed the top of it. And I always carry a file, and it's good that you have a good file on you. This one's got some dirt in it, needs loaded up, needs to be cleaned up, but it's good that you have a file on you so you can work on your dogs. Whenever you've got doggone traps that don't have a rod dog on them, even some of those have to be filed from time to time, and you can make them, you know, go off a little faster with a little less pan tension if you shorten them up a bit. But I always have a good file on me to make sure I can clean up any kind of burrs or anything, or straighten out your dogs, make sure that they don't get hung up on themselves, so it makes the trap fire off so the animal gets caught. And then I learned this from Andy in one of his coyote trapping DVDs, Western Coyote Trapping, and he just carried around a little Nesquik pouch, and we always have Nesquik at the house. So I took one of these and I put my pain covers in it, and it varies whether it's going to be coffee filters or whether it's going to be the cupcake liners. But between cupcake liners and coffee filters, that is probably the best thing you need, especially whenever it comes to your MB550s and some of your traps. The coffee filters work really good for those. I fill this up with dirt, and I make sure that it smells locally. So every time I get to a new location or a spot, you know, I start my trapping season, I put fresh dirt from that location inside one of these, and it holds on to it, takes good care of the pan filter or the pan cover, so whenever I start using them, they don't smell like my hands or smell like the grocery store or whatever you stored them in. And then of course you need a good sifter, and you can get sifters a lot of different ways. People make their own sifters. A lot of older guys have sifters that they had made in the past that were wood and screen, and anything will work. If wherever you're at, a good sifter is important. Around here we got a lot of rocks, and we got a lot of thicker clay style dirt, so a sifter with wide expanded metal on it works real good. But in some places where you got a lot of sand, maybe a different kind of sifter, one of the teacup sifters or one of the ones with screen in it would probably work best. And inside this bucket, I'm not going to tear it all up so you can see it, but inside this bucket inside this bag I've got a 5-gallon bucket, and I cut the bottom of it off about 4.5–5 inches, and I stuck it down in there so it would hold all my stuff. And whenever I want to clean it out, I just turn all this over, dump it out, pull that 5-gallon bucket out and dump all that stuff out of it, and then I put all my tools back in here. There's a pocket inside the bag that holds on to your tools, and any trap bag will do. I mean, you don't have to have an Andy Weiser coyote bag to be trapping. In fact, some guys will do a whole lot of good with very little. And as long as you have the tools that you need in order to make sure that your traps are up and running, that you don't have any problems there, and as long as you've got the lure and the urine and everything you need to make your set, you're going to be good. Whether it's one of those Leggett's bags, or whether it's some regular bag that you get at the hardware store, or whether it's one of these really nice Andy Weiser bags. I don't think Andy sells these bags anymore. I'm pretty sure he doesn't. But I believe The company that does sell similar bags to it is the Montana Trapper bags. If you look them up on Google or the internet, you're going to find that they currently make a whole bunch of bags that are very similar to this one right here. And it's a good bag to have. You know, I've had it for 7 years now, and I've got no rips in it. I've got no tears in it. I don't have any problems with it, and it works real good, just like the first day I bought it. And I've got 3 of them, like I said, 2 for beaver, 2 beaver bags, 1 for beaver, 1 for coyotes, and then 1 for bobcat. So anytime you need a good bag, you know, it's a good choice to do that. I think they cost me 40 or 50, 80 bucks at the time. Nowadays you'll buy bags and you probably get them for about $50 to $75. If you're an economy trapper, going and getting a little hand tote that you would use for tools at the local hardware store will do just fine. The point is you need to have all the tools inside of it that you need in order to make sure your traps are running properly and you can set them in the ground. Now let's get back to it. Well, looky here. Well, folks, this is still check day 52, and I got another dog in the first 8 traps I checked. So you can see there's a really well-defined trail right here that heads to the northwest a little bit, and it splits into 2 or 3 trails on the other side of this tree here, and there's a handful of trails that connect with it, coming from all different directions. And this has always been a hot spot. I caught a lot of beaver in this pond whenever I was trapping nuisance beaver on this pond earlier last year I should say. And I got some scat that was right here, and it was a big old pile of scat. And I have another trap set in right here, and you can't really see it, but it's set up for a south wind, so there's a little bitty hole right there against that tuft of grass on the north side, and then there's a trap in right there. And I already had a good dog this morning, one that I'm probably going to skin, even though the shoulders are a little rubbed out. It's a beautiful dog, and if I have to keep it for myself I will. But I got this dog here, and this is I think this one's a gyp. The other one was a really huge male. I'll bet he's close to 40 pounds. This one's got in a 550. That one was in a trench set that had Andy Weiser's horse meat in it with a little bit of Pecos Valley. This one was in a trench set that had my cat max in it. It's just cat meat that I cut off from the cat carcasses and aged and blended with Bob Jameson's what's it called, Max Force bait solution. So that's what I had been using. I don't know, I just started using it again this year. I didn't really like it the first year, but after it sat for a couple of years, it really turned into a good bait. The beaver meat baits generally do better, I've noticed, but some of the really good bait makers swear by cat meat baits and how you cut them up in little chunks, and you just kind of, you don't really rot them down. You just age them a little bit on the outside, and then you blend them up and preserve them and keep them like that. And that's what I did with this bait. But the first year it didn't hit. It wasn't very good. I'd set out a bunch of baits and had I don't know, 7 or 8 different baits set out in a line on a pasture with no traps out. Just dug really deep dirt holes and put baits in them and see what the dogs dug out. And they dug out the cooking oil. They dug out the catfish bait balls. They dug out the Bill's catfish bait, and they dug out the beaver bait real good. They messed with some of the other ones, but they didn't dig them out like they did the oil and the catfish balls. And really, the oil and the catfish balls works best. I haven't even busted out any catfish balls this year, and I don't really plan on it, but they work too. If you're economy trapping and you don't have any money, go to Walmart and get you a $2 bag of catfish balls and mash up some of that. Maybe mix some oil up in it and make it a nice little soggy mess, and stick some of that in the hole and see what happens. I guarantee it'll work. But this is a good looking dog. She's not skinnable. She's got some patches missing on her rear end already, so I'll bet they're rutting pretty hard. I'm gonna have to take a look at her and see if she's in heat, because if she is, I need her. But I don't plan on skinning this one. I'm definitely gonna skin that other one. But this is dog number 46, for the season, dog number 2 for the day on check day 52, and it was 2 trench sets that have connected on me so far. I've got flat sets. I got a flat set right there next to the camera. I got up the 2 track about a quarter mile. I've got 4 sets in right there. One of them's a cat set, and the other ones are all trench sets. And then I've got 2 more flat sets up there by the pond, about just about a half mile away from me right here. So I prayed about it last night, and I asked for full traps, as full of traps as God would make them. And look at this. So we've got 2 dogs in the first 8 traps. I've got 42 traps left to check, and we're gonna get this trench set remade, get this dog taken care of, and move on down the line. You got something to say? Huh? You were talking a minute ago. No. Yeehaw! Look at this. Look at that. Every day that I have a good day trapping, I have an animal at this ghost gate. Every single day I have a good day trapping, I got an animal right here. Check day 52 is turning out to be a hell of a good day. As you can see, this will be dog number 3 for check day 52. And you can't really see his rear end, but he's been chewed up pretty bad. The second dog I caught today also had hair removed out of the haunch, but this one's got flesh exposed. Something's been chewing on him real bad. They've been fighting, so that happens whenever they start rutting. And depending on your latitude, the dogs will rut at different times. Their hair slips at different times, but the fur here is good, but the shoulders have already started to rub out. So I think they rut earlier down here than they do a little further up north. And I know some of the guys in Kansas and Indiana still haven't had shoulders rubbed too much in most places, and that's good. That means they're going to get a lot of dogs skinned. But I've only got 12 dogs skinned. I got one in the truck I'm going to skin just for me because it's beautiful. But this dog is dog number 47. No, dog number 37. Shoot, I did that on my vlog, adding 10 to it. I wish it was 47. Dog number 37 in check day 52. So I'm behind. I expected to have at least 50 dogs by now, and I don't. But I'm really ahead on cats. I've got 12 cats so far, and that's huge. I rarely have 12 cats, throughout the whole season in some of the other places I trap, but the dogs are really plentiful. And now that I'm out here in the east, the cats are a little bit more plentiful than they are out west, but the dogs not as much. There's dogs here, and there's a lot of them here. I still think I can take 100 off this place, and we'll see. I'm planning on it. But we're behind on numbers. If I don't hit 50 by the middle of January, which is just about 10 days away, 8 days away, then I'm, just statistically I'm behind. So I had a set here that was a trail set, but I had lure on either side of it, of the trail. So to kind of give an animal a reason to really stop and look around, and if an animal just walked through, they're liable to get caught in the set without stopping. But a lot of times when you put lure in a set or urine in a set, they're going to slow down and take they're going to study it a little bit. So they're not going to just run right through the trail. If you just put a trail set out, which I really like those, especially in the spring when you're doing nuisance work, trail sets just set perfectly in trails. You put 2 or 3 of them in a trail like this, or similar, and you're gonna pick up animals. They're just gonna walk right into it, and it's a really great set. When it comes to beaver, some of my favorite sets you use with beaver are blind sets where there's no lure or bait at all. This dog, being number 37, number 3 for the day, is a decent dog, other than that big hole it's got in it. But he tore this set up real good. So we got a lot of work to do on this set. Get it back up and running. It's going to turn into kind of a trash pile right in the middle of a trail, which is not exactly what I wanted. But I'm not mad about it. That's a good dog. It's a good day. Every day that I have a really good day, I almost have a catch right here at this gate. This will be the 5th dog I've caught at this gate. Every day I've had a triple. One of the dogs has been here, which is pretty wild. Out of all the acreage here that I'm trapping, this one lonely gate out here that doesn't have a fence on it at all. It's just a gate by itself. They didn't pull out. Got all these trails intersecting at this gate that runs down to a big pond down there. And this has been the hottest spot on this property. This 160 that I'm trapping right here, this is the hottest spot. And when you have a dog here, you know it's going to be a good day, because it's always the case. So I'm going to get this dog taken care of. And check day 52, dog number 37, 3rd dog for the day. And it fell to my coyote gland and a flat set that was kind of in the trail, with a little bit of Andy Weiser's wolf gland and some of Wayne Derrick's urine. So that's the good stuff, and the good stuff works. So we'll get on back in the Ranger. I got some birds down there. I got 2 more sets down there. I might actually have something in a set down there. So I don't know. I'll have to go down there and take a look. Once I'm done taking care of this and getting this dog dispatched and this set remade, I'll get down there. We'll get back and rehab the Red Ranger and move on down the line. Ha ha ha! Look at this. Looky what we got here. All right, folks. You see what I got going on here? I got a really good looking cat. This is cat number 13, check day number 52. I've already had 3 coyotes today. This is the best day I've had trapping yet this property. And this cat looks exactly like a cat that I let go previous in the season. And I showed you guys the episode where I did the Bobcat catching and release, because I released a lot of cats. I released 5. I tried to release a 6th one, but he attacked me. So anyway, I took that one home. Well, I'm taking this one home too, and I'm pretty sure this is one of the same cats. Like this is the same. I caught 2 cats right here that I released, both of them, and they were just 20-30 foot away, just on the other side of this fence in that next pasture. There's a gate right here, and I got a trap on both sides of this gate, and I got 8 more traps down here I haven't checked. We had 50 traps out. The first 8 traps I had today, I had 2 coyotes. So I got 8 traps left. We got really good chances of catching some other animals. I've had some catches in there recently, so they're nice and fresh. It was a great night. Really low wind coming out of the north, 3-4 mile an hour. A couple times it said calm on the weather app. But this cat here looks a lot like one of those other cats. I had a cat set here, and I've said it before, the best thing in trapping is whenever you catch a cat in a cat set. I'd like to be a cat trapper rather than a coyote trapper or beaver trapper. I've got a lot more experience with beaver and coyotes because I've caught a lot more of them. But this year, it looks like I'm going to hit my numbers. I can have 20 that I can harvest. I've caught, this will be cat number 13. So this will be the 8th cat that I've harvested. And I'm stoked about it. After having those 3 coyotes and then pulling up on this cat and this cat set, I'm real happy about it. There's a real good spot in here where there's trails that intersect and go down into an area where the beaver had it all dammed up and had some pretty deep water. Some of it was over my head in the creek over there whenever I was beaver trapping. And there's, of course, a 2-track that runs along this fence with all these cattle trails. And then we've got a 2-track that runs along this fence here on the other side of the gate with all these cattle trails. And it's just a great spot. You've got a lot of brambles and briars in here, which is where all the rabbits are. And we got a ton of rabbits. When you got a ton of rabbits, you got a ton of cats. And that's what's going on. They've got a lot of food to eat on, so they hang around. And they make big loops, 7 to 10, 15 days, depending on the cat, what kind of cat it is. But I had 2 cats over there, and they shredded that tree up pretty good on the fence, and I kind of wish I hadn't set right on the fence because both of them were kind of tied up in the barbed wire a little bit. So whenever I made sets since then, especially for cats, I pulled them up off the fence a bit to make sure that didn't happen because I didn't want to damage any of the fur. You don't want any of the cats or coyotes having a big scar down their back. But this is a great location. This will be the 3rd cat I've caught within 30 feet of this spot. And I've caught another cat down there just about a week ago. And I've caught a lot of cats in here. So we've caught 13 cats now, and this is the 8th cat that I've harvested. It was in a cat set that I'd made for cats, but I didn't catch this cat until I'd caught 2 possums and 2 coons in that set. You can see that the saplings that this cat's wrapped up in right here was originally the backing that I had my Pecos Valley on, and my Super Cat, Andy Weiser's Super Cat, which is a rubbler, but it's got skunk in it. So I put it up high to try and get the smell out there to bring the cats in. And it brought coons and possums in right away. And I've caught, like I said, I just pulled a really big coon out of this, I don't know, a few days back. And this set was destroyed. It's basically just turned into a bullseye type, you know, trash pile cat set. And that Pecos Valley, that Derek's Super Cat, and Andy Weiser's Super Cat with a little bit of urine is deadly. It gives them a lot of smells. It has a call lure in it, it's got a rub lure in it, and then it's got the gland lure in it, and you're going to get them in there. And he left me some really good turds. Yeah, I hear you. He left me some really good turds. He's caught by the back foot, so I'm trying not to get too close to him because I've already had a run-in with a cat once. I don't want to do it again. You have to respect the danger when you're on the line. You know, don't be a dumbass. Pay attention to what's going on around you. Make sure that you're, you know, aware of what's going on around you, and make sure that you don't make stupid mistakes, because, you know, you'll live to regret them, but you'll regret them. So it is what it is. This cat here is my 8th cat. I've said that 2 or 3 times by now. I'm pretty excited. Like I said, I had 3 dogs already in this one cat, and I'm stoked. This is a great day. Praise the Lord for it. So I'm going to get this cat dispatched, taken out of here. We're going to get this cat. I'm not sure whether I'm going to try and taxi this cat or whether I'm going to skin this cat. I'm going to have to really take a look at it and see what's going on the belly. It looks like a nice wide belly. It looks like a pretty decent tom, probably 27, 28 pounds, 26 pounds, somewhere in that range. Depends on how much turds he left me, I guess. And we're going to get this set remade. I'll show you the remake. It's not real hard to do. And we'll move on down the line. Alright folks, this is going to be the play-by-play set remake number 2 for the show. You can see I'd already bedded it. I'd already put in my trap pan cover, already put in the peat moss, then I added that antifreeze, and now I'm doing the same thing like normal, just putting some dirt on it that's dry, making sure it doesn't move, blending it in real good, and then I'm gonna punch my hole, or find my hole that I already had punched right there, bringing in some turds from another catch in a previous pasture. I try and use turds from other places whenever I do it. I try not to pull turds from the same spot, but sometimes I use turds from the current catch whenever they're there. Usually I pick those up and take them with me. But you can see there I pulled out some of Wayne Derek's Super Cat, some of Andy Weiser's Super Cat, and right there I'm putting Wayne Derek's Pecos Valley up about nose level. I like to have the rubblers at about nose level. I like to put the glandlers down at the end, kind of where the turds are at and in the hole. And that Super Cat right there I'm going to put up on the branch that used to be a branch, and now it's just kind of a 2-foot nub that's up there, but brings the smell of the skunk up a little high so the cats can smell it from a long ways away. Then that's the finished remake right there with all the blocking and everything. Well, I thought this video was going to end 2 or 3 catches ago, but it looks like this is one hell of a vlog. Well, folks, 4th dog of the day, and we had one cat, one dang good cat. And this is a backfoot caught dog. I never really want a backfoot caught animal. I already had a backfoot caught cat, and maybe one of those other dogs, I don't remember. And you know, this has been a great day. Praise the Lord for it. But we've had a hell of a good time so far. And I think this dog was in a T-bone set I had here, chewed up a little bit. And I had the same thing I had on that cat set over there. Andy Weiser's Super Cat, Wayne Derek's Super Cat, which is a glandler. Andy Weiser's is a rubbler, and it's got skunk in it, collar. And then some Pecos Valley, which is a rubbler. And I actually, you know what, it wasn't Pecos Valley, it was Nightcat. It was Cletus Richards' Nightcat. That's what was in this set. And I didn't have a turd here. I just had urine on it. And I set it up just like I do a basic flat set. My T-bone flats are really simple. And we got really blessed today. So I don't know what else to say. We don't normally do this good out here. 5 predators in one day, and no coons, no possums today. And nothing was flipped off that didn't have an animal in it. So I didn't miss a single thing last night, which is good. You'll have animals that, walk your sets and don't work them. And you have, in dry time like this with Oklahoma dirt, you have no idea what was around your set that didn't work it. And I'm sure whenever it snowed that one time, I had 10 sets that were walked around and checked out by coyotes, but not one of them went off. And only one of them, just up on this dam, the coyote was actually on the trap and didn't set it off, but didn't step on the pan. But the other ones were worked from behind, and I could have caught those animals had I had the trap set up for the proper wind, but you can't always judge that. And the other ones, they just walked around it, checked everything out, and then left. They didn't even work it. So 6 sets that night, just one night, that were looked at but not worked. And I wonder how many of the 50 sets I have out right now had animals, coyotes, and cats just wandering around them but didn't actually try and work them last night. So that happens, but you can't really count that as a miss. Whenever a trap goes off and there's nothing in it, that's a miss. So I didn't have that. And I haven't had any pullouts. Some folks talk about pullouts when it comes to 550s. I'm sure it's possible, but sometimes I catch animals just by the pad on the back of their foot, and sometimes I just catch them by a toe or two, and that's happened maybe 8-10% of the times I've caught animals in MB 550s. But I have never had a pullout. If I've ever had a trap where an animal wasn't in it, went off, it was either a coon that flipped it off or it was a deer, and you've got a track close by to know, or you can see their hair in the trap. And that has never happened to me with a dog and a cat. I know it happens to other people, and I'm sure over time as the springs get weak, it's going to happen. But we'll just replace the springs when that does, and you should do the same. Make sure your traps and all your gear's in good working order whenever you use it. If you're like me, I'm pretty scatterbrained. I operate better in chaos than I do in a perfect, clean environment. So a lot of my stuff is just kind of tossed everywhere. I'm not really the most neat person when it comes to all the gear that I have, and it is what it is. But this dog, number 48, number 4 for the day, number 48 for the season, 38 for the season, number 38 for the season, is, I wish it was 48. Man, I wish I'd had 50 dogs almost by now. 38 for the season, number 4 for the day on check day 52, and I'm stoked. I think I'm going to skin one of those dogs. The other ones, I'm just going to cut the rear ends out and save their glands, and that's it. This dog's been real timid, just kind of hiding with its tail in between its legs, hadn't even moved really very much. It's close enough now, if it wanted to get violent and turn around and take a swipe at me, it's close enough to do it, but it's not doing it. It might even let me pet it. But I got to get this cat home and get it skinned up, get that dog in the freezer, and get these glands harvested so I can start making some lure. And it's been a great day. Praise the Lord for it. I'll check back with you guys tomorrow, and we'll move on down the line. Well, folks, thanks for watching. I have those set remake play-by-plays that I've been doing to kind of speed up the process a little bit, because I'm trying to pack so much material, so much content and catches inside one show. And I'm trying to make the shows based off of the way I'd want to see one. I know that today with modern commercials and modern television, everybody makes a show. It's about 22 to 23 minutes long, so it can fit into a 30-minute segment on TV. And I don't have any intention on being on TV and having all those commercials, to split up my show. So basically what I plan to do is just make 30 to 40 minute shows, which is about the length that I'd want to sit down and watch a show, and put 7 to 10 catches in every show. That way there's a lot of content and action for you to see. If you guys like that, then in the comments below, let me know. And if you don't, then do the same in the comments below, let me know. But it's a fun time making these shows, and I really appreciate you guys watching. Please share, like, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time on Down the Line. And until then, Dominion out.